Hi, welcome to another Power Blast podcast. Why should you get fit and stay fit over 40? Stay tuned. Hey everyone, Perry Tinsley here, creator of the Power Blast podcast and a health and fitness coach here to help you out. And thank you so much for tuning in to today's show. We're going to talk about why should you get fit and stay fit over 40. And for you 50, 60, 70, 80-year-olds out there, don't just write it off and go, oh, he's talking about the 40-year-olds. This is over 40, okay? And I'm going to share a little bit about my journey and my experience and just some of the things that I've learned. Hopefully they'll help you out if you're finding yourself in that age bracket. We like to say age is just a number, but we all consider it, right? And if you're heading into your 40s, something to think about as well. Let's face it, a lot of us, we kind of go through our day-to-day routine, and sometimes we squeeze in exercise, but a lot of times we don't. And it adds up over time. And it might not seem significant at the moment, but I've been having a talk with some friends. I'm heading into my mid-50s. Believe it or not, I know. You guys are like, no way, right? That guy's not that old. But here I am, and I've been talking with some people that, they kind of dabbled with the fitness stuff, or they were in shape a little bit there, kind of got off track, then really got off track, and knowing that they know what to do, they're going to get back into their heyday, but time just keeps creeping up on them. And then all of a sudden it seems like this big effort and big to do, or there's some symptoms that take them out of the game. I mean, let's face it, we're sitting a lot, whether it's watching TV or being at our desk or driving. Time is a factor. Some people still have kids that they're considering, or grandkids. We're busy. We have so many excuses. We just don't feel like it. Sometimes we feel, oh my gosh, it's too late. It's just too late. You know my mantra with this podcast is it's never too late. Or I have this condition or something that takes me out of the game. And while some of those things may be true, your situation may be unique. For most of us, getting in shape over 40 is a very real possibility and something that should happen. So I'm going to talk about just some things that I have found really beneficial as I've been going through my 40s and 50s. And yeah, I got really, really in shape. And, not everybody has to go and do that. I was just determined, and I got through a really dark place in my life where I had lost my wife in a car crash. And fitness helped me cope, and it helped me deal with things. Now, I know that's not everybody's story, right? But as the days tend to add up, and sometimes the pounds, and sometimes the aches and the pains and the things that kind of take us out of the game, the knee conditions and stuff like that. These are some things that I've been learning over the years that I think really, really help a lot of people as we get into our 40s, our 50s, 60s, 70s. And this, what I'm sharing is a lot of my friends, are in their 50s, 60s, 70s and doing quite well. And these are some of the things that people are doing. One thing, and I used to write this off, I used to just avoid it, working on your flexibility. Working on your flexibility is what Tony Horton calls the fountain of youth. And whether you do this with yoga, I used to hate yoga, but now I've learned to love it because my body loves it. But it takes time. Some of these things are going to take you some time if you have not had the experience with doing them. So it's easy just to get upstairs in our head and say, oh my gosh, that's not for me. I'm totally not into that. But when you're investing in yourself and your health and all the benefits that come with exercise and being fit, and I'm not saying ripped abs and all that stuff. I'm just saying being fit so you can balance and you're not breaking bones and not falling down later in life. Doing that. So flexibility, working on yoga is one option, or like Tai Chi. Still, that's just motion and range of motion and things that you're doing. Stretching, intentional stretching. I'm not talking about stretching like a big yawn. Foam rolling is another great way to just keep those muscles limber and work out the kinks and stuff like that. You've got to be consistent on this stuff, though, people. It's not like, okay, I'll do that 1 week, and then maybe I'll do it again the next month. This compounds. This adds up. So that's one thing. The other thing, while I know a lot of people that like to do long cardio sessions and get out there and run marathons and triathlons, I mean, that's so cool. But I think we used to have a mentality back in the day where we had to have really long cardio sessions. I think now this thing called HIIT, they call it HIIT training, which stands for high intensity interval training. It's where you are going full out and getting your heart rate really high, and then for a period of time bringing that heart rate down, then spiking it again. The workouts are typically very, very short and fast, and they just really exercise that heart and get the heart pumping without having to say, I'm going to go on a 10, 15-mile run. But running, biking, swimming, those things are great too. But HIIT training is one of those things that I think a lot of times people think are just for athletes and for young people, but I believe that can really benefit people that are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. The next one, and I was talking about this with somebody today, is to work on your core. That is so huge. I mean, everything comes from the core, and that's the chest, the abs, the back, everything that goes around, and supporting yourself up. And they can be simple movements, but this is going to improve your balance, your posture. And so while some of these things may seem intimidating at first, consider them, getting a good core workout. Well, whether you're going to a gym or whether you're following an online workout program or something like that. Planks, that's one way to do it. Some balance work where maybe you're just off balance, like with one dumbbell in one hand and you're lifting another leg off the floor on the opposite side. That's working on your balance and stability. Using stability ball for that, or like one of those Bosu balls. MMA or kickboxing style workouts. I'm not saying you have to be like a Chuck Norris or anything like that, but just even slow movements and punches and stuff like that, where you're bringing everything from the core, can really work on that stability. Functional fitness programs, like P90X type of things, or Power 90 or P90, I believe it's called now. There's some other ones that just work on the foundation, things that work your muscles to where you're picking something up in the kitchen, or you're reaching high on a shelf, or you're turning to work on a tree branch outside or something. The things that are movements that you would use in everyday life, picking up a bag of rocks or a bunch of mulch to go into your yard. You're doing this twisting and stuff and different types of motions. Those are the types of exercises that get you ready for those sort of things. So you're not pulling a muscle and not being, hey, I'm gonna work on the yard this weekend, and then you're paying for it for the rest of the week because you pulled something. So those working your core. In between workouts, recovery. Recovery is really smart. I used to take one day a week for some sort of recover or stretch type of workout. I think that's important. A lot of people, they love their Fitbit or their Garmin, 10,000 steps a day. We spend so much time sitting at a desk, sitting behind the computer. Getting up and getting away from that desk, it can be very, very important, very, very beneficial. To do that, 10,000 steps, a minimum of that. Water, drinking water. I know that's not a fitness thing, but all of our organs, they feed off of water, and we are a population that's severely dehydrated. So getting more and more of that, and I'm not talking about coffee and saying, oh, that there's water in that. We're actually just talking about water. Strength training. Now, I know a lot of times people are like, oh, I don't want to get big and bulky and whatever. You know what? Strength training is a must if you're over 40. That you're going to maintain muscle mass. You're going to build bone density. You're going to probably decrease your risk of falls, relieve joint pain. I know a lot of people out there, they're like, oh, I've got some, elbow things and knee things and hip things. those that can actually benefit from that. Improve your blood sugar. I'm going to tell you, when I first started working out and after I'd started getting results, there were all these things that I didn't even realize that were going to happen. One of them was my joints ached less. I didn't pull muscles as easily. I mean, I used to pull a muscle. I'd be laying there in bed and I'd try to wedge myself up to get a little better, jockey a better position on the pillow with my head. And then I'd pull a neck muscle. I'd be like, oh, what did I do? What did I do? So those sort of things just seem to fade into the background. Do they still happen from time to time? Yeah, not as often. But just do that. And probably one of my biggest tips, I know it's really easy to go, okay, Perry said work on your core, work on your flexibility, do some strength training, and a few others, HIIT training. I'm going to go over to YouTube and just find little video clips on that. Back in the day, I used to either go to a gym or I bought equipment for my house, and I would guess my way how to do something. And it's really easy just to pick and choose. And, I talk to people and I coach them all the time. They're like, yeah, I squeeze in some ab work once in a while. And I'll do, I do some squats. And, when push comes to shove and I really ask them what it is, what plan they're following, they're just kind of guessing their way through it and they're really not consistent. And when you pick and choose these sort of things, and hopefully you've got a system that you can follow. That's one of the reasons why I fell in love with the Beachbody workouts, because it was like having a trainer right there on the TV telling me what to do, somebody that was way more educated than me, and all I did was follow their system, follow their plan. And they blended in all of the moves. There were functional fitness, there was strength, there was core, there was stability, there was balance, there was all this stuff. There was yoga in there. And combined together, boom. Not only results happen, but it was every year, every day I'm showing up, but over the years, I'm still feeling good, still feeling fit. Do I have my moments? Sure. But I see many people struggling out there and realize, hey, it doesn't have to be this way. If you just make a decision now and start and don't stop, don't quit, don't get, if you get sidetracked a little, just get back on it and don't feel defeated and stay off that stupid scale. Oh my gosh, so many people start working out and they get on the scale and they feel so depressed because they didn't lose any weight or they gained a pound or whatever. I'm like, oh my gosh, is that what you're doing it for? I'm working out so I can see a number on a scale? No. You're working out so you can look good, so you can feel good, so you can squat down and reach something off the floor and not wince and groan and have to grab for something to hold on to and brace. You want that sort of thing to happen for you. That's why you're working out. That's why you're exercising. The scale is not going to tell you that. So stay off that thing. I didn't mean to get on my soapbox that way, but so many people do that. And so and let that number, that stupid device, take them out of the game and say this doesn't work. When if they just stuck it out, never went on the scale, they'll find themselves stronger. They'll find themselves having more energy. They'll find themselves happier. They'll find themselves buying smaller clothing and donating their other clothing. They'll find themselves being in better relationships, being a better worker, having better performance at work. My gosh, the benefits. Remember, if you're getting fit over 40 and 50, you're much more likely to be healthy into your 60s and 70s. And if you're struggling, if you're in 40s right now and 40s and 50s and you're struggling right now and not doing anything about it, it's not going to get any better just by thinking about doing something. You've got to do something. You got to take action. So I know I mentioned the Beachbody workouts, but other than that, go to a class at a gym, follow an instructor, hire a personal trainer of some sort, do it on a regular basis. I think you maybe check out the schools or community services of the rec department in your city, see what else is going on that you can participate in. Sometimes I'll do live P90X classes over in our clubhouse, and the people in my neighborhood will show up and get a workout in. Now, I hope they do more than just that workout throughout the week because I'm not doing it every single day. but the benefits are huge, people. And so that's what I've learned. That's what I wanted to share with you. I don't want you to struggle like I was struggling, and how I see other people struggling. And if you've got this, so very cool. Please pass it on and influence somebody else so they don't struggle as well, because they watch you. They know that you're being an inspiration to them, whether they say it to you or not. Share your journey, share your struggles, and share what you learned and what you overcame. Just do it. That's all I have for this week. Thanks for letting me get on my soapbox a bit. But I hope for you, you consider making a choice to invest in your older self. I thank you so much for coming on this podcast, for sharing it with anybody that you know can benefit, and be really crazy awesome if you got over to the iTunes, gave it an honest rating and review. And speaking of iTunes, just iTunes and mainly iTunes, but also on Google Play. Do a search for Power Blast Podcast. You can download this in audio version or video version. And my tagline always is, remember, it's never too late. We'll see you next week.